Good evening, gentlemen, and good evening, viewers. Oh my God, we've got viewers, boys. They're back from last week onto this week. I know anybody would think once was enough, but no. You'll be signing autographs next. You'll be signing autographs. Right, so I've now got 4 people to interact with me picking a new tank just for me. Now, obviously, I put out a video during the week of 3 different fish tanks. And obviously, there was a 2-foot cube, there was a 3-foot with a weir, and then there was a 3-foot, the old Evolution Aqua with the holes in the back. Yeah? And I asked our viewing public to send me what they were going to say. And like usual, nobody fucking did. So, there was only one person that did. I can see him frowning already. I can see him frowning. Yeah, there was. But you're here. You're here. So, all the viewing public that watches on Catch Up, it was for them to interact with the channel. And again, nobody did it. Even Liam and I'm going to say Ryan because it's Rye. So I'm going to say Ryan. They didn't even message. But let's skip over the fact that nobody was actually bothered about my fish tank. Let's get down to the brass tacks. So, come on, Dave. It's your opportunity to now sell me your idea of which one you would pick. Go on. I think I might have an idea of which one you might go for.
I'd go for the 2-foot cube.
Oh. And why would you go for a 2-foot cube, Dave?
It's more relatable. There's a lot of people going for a small cube as a start-up tank, I'd have thought, anyway. There's more about.
So, I know, yeah, we all knew which one you were going to go for, didn't we? So, obviously, the 2-foot that you've got behind you, if you were to buy another second-hand tank, would you actually buy that tank again? Or if my options were available, would you plump for one of my options instead? Or would you go for the 2-foot cube again?
Probably plump for a different option.
So you're trying to stitch me into a 2-foot cube that you wouldn't actually, if you had my options, do it again?
Well, no, okay. I've already had it, haven't I? So,
all right, been there, done that.
Yep.
Right.
Got that T-shirt.
Yeah. So the 2-foot is obviously the same. The one that I've got to choose from is actually the same brand as yours, with all of the different bits. We've got somebody in the chat that's messaging that's meant to be here. That's not quite the game. Where are you? Come on. Get parked up. Even if you do live stream down the motorway, don't worry about it. There's plenty of people doing it. We see it on the internet all day long. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because we need you next week. If you're dead, we can't exploit you next week, can we? But don't message. Get involved, boy. Come on. We're here for an hour. But anyway, so the 2-foot cube is exactly the same as what you've got in the background, but given my options, you would not pick that tank again. Now, chat, not again. But at the time, obviously, when you were picking a second-hand tank, that was literally right in front of you, and I was there at the time. You went, oh, that's nice, I'll have that. Yeah?
With the furniture. It's a nice-looking tank, really, though, isn't it? With the oak. It's not just a bit of chipboard covered with a bit of fancy melamine.
Yeah. So Rice basically said, if you're going to do it, don't piss about with a small tank. Yeah. Get a proper tank. Now, obviously, that then draws us back into Ross, who had a second-hand tank. Your first tank was second-hand, wasn't it?
Yeah, both tanks second-hand.
Yeah. So
both 4-foot.
This obviously then leads us back into the actual picking of a marine fish tank. If you have now, 6 months into your new fish tank, would you, if they were side by side, forget the price of it, would you then go 4 foot tropical and convert it, or would you do 4 foot marine?
Now,
Forgetting the
now I've
price.
had both. Yeah, now I've had both of them. Definitely, I'd go with the marine.
Yeah, I wouldn't go back tropical again. It was a long
But
time ago I had tropical.
Yeah, but you both set up your first marine tank, which was a basically a tropical glass box, and then you decided that you wanted to have the marine hobby. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now I did
Yeah.
exactly the same. Because the difference between going from one hobby to another hobby, a glass box is a glass box at the end of the day. But then when you go into the logistics, that's the wrong word. When you go into the bits and bobs in the background, then obviously you have to, in theory, either have a back weir or a sump. Now, we're getting messages left, right, and centre here. No, it's not a. If you were watching when Ross did his tank tour, then you'll know all about Ross's tank. Go back a couple of weeks, rewatch his content, and then you'll be able to look at his fish tank and do a thing. So don't be messaging him on here because you didn't view in last 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Deary me. Come on, we're not going over old territory. So if you were to pick Ross, of which you've already picked, of the 3 tanks, and you were the only one that sent me a message, so thank you very much for sending me a message. But you might as well tell me now you're on a live stream. I'll have both. Go on. Which one would you pick, Ross?
I would go for the 3 foot with a weir.
Right.
But it's personal choice as well, though, isn't it? I mean, I've always preferred the bigger the better, bigger tank the better. Some people like a smaller corner thing or something like it. It depends on your room and what space you've got and anything, doesn't it, really?
So yeah, I have only got space for a 3 foot tank maximum. That's as much space as I've got. So that's as big as I could do. And obviously it tied in really, really handy that that's the only space I've got available, that I'd got 2 second-hand tanks, 3 foot, that are sat doing nothing. And obviously a 2 foot. So the boys that are in the chat, obviously, I've not had any interaction with them. So hopefully they've watched the video of the 3 tanks. We're now getting people commenting that they work at 7 o'clock. We are on the internet, and you know, when we've finished live, you can then watch it straight afterwards. Oh, right. It's as though we're making this up, and we're doing live stream for people to interact. You put a message on now on a live stream, and I can talk to you about it. And then the people that are on catch up have to listen to me waffle about your questions. But then you have interaction. Right. So we've got an avid viewer that's not here. All 3 with 1 sump. Yeah. As like a stacker system, like one at the top, one at the middle, one at the bottom, and then a sump.
Waterfall it, couldn't you?
You could waterfall it. Right. So let's get rid of the suspense of the only person that messaged on the video that I did. I only had one option, really. That's all I did. I took my valued member, and you can interpret that as much as you want, boys, and went with his recommendation.
Ta-da!
And here it is, look! If only I'd have thought that this tank was the one that you were all going to pick on a live stream. But let's get back in here. Right. So we'll get rid of that because that's enough of a reveal of what's going on behind there. Do you think the bloke that's on that side of this door is more good looking than me? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Right. So live stream. One side of the door or the other side of the door? Which side of the door would we do a live stream? Are we talking this side of the door, or are we talking that side of the door, or do we interact one week and then the other? These are all questions that I will be asking you, my viewing public. I'll ask you that question literally tonight. Is anybody would think I'd already pre-done a video and that I was going to do it and then release it as soon as this is finished? Would I do such a thing? Well, you never know. So anyway, we've now picked a tank. Now, I'm going to skip over a couple of decisions because we're going to do them now, because the interaction of what I was going to do was give the viewing public a chance to pick sand, pick a light, and all of the different things that are content led, that would be weeks and weeks and weeks of content. But since there's nobody's actually doing anything and nobody's watching, I might as well just get your two's opinion and then we'll go from that. So, sand. Are we going live sand? Are we going dry sand? And if you were doing a dry sand, would you do a big particle or a small particle? Which would you do, Dave?
Live sand. But I suppose what's going in it?
I have no clue.
What do you want to put in it?
I want to have a 3-foot fish tank and a social media platform that people interact with, and the things that they struggle with in their tank, potentially I could put corals in different positions, the same coral in different positions, and see whether it lives or see whether it dies. There's lots of content that's on the internet, but then there's my content. And my content, having a beer, nobody else is doing that. And I want your opinion of what you would do with my fish tank. So when I'm sat on this side of the door, I know everything. But wait for it. When I'm sat on this side of the door, I ain't got a clue. So what's the first things that we got to do with this fish tank?
I was supposed to be looking at him at a different fish tank.
Oh, sorry. We'll not do that bit again. Anyway, just imagine me sat there. You heard me. So, if we've got an audience, because Liam knows what he's talking about now, and yeah, I'm not 100% sure about Ryan, but they've now got as much interaction with my brand new fish tank, and I'm asking questions, which will then provide content to the internet. And it was only a few months ago that I want to say Ryan, your name's Ryan from now on, even if it's not. When Ryan and Liam came into the shop, and obviously Liam was getting into the hobby and Ryan was giving him the knowledge of what he's done. And then the internet is now filled with people that don't give an honest opinion of how a marine tank happens, because there's a lot of people that will just wash fish tanks. There's a lot of people that will let stuff die and then replace it and then pass it off as though it's the same thing. I want to give an honest opinion of, from day one going forward, how a fish tank interacts, and then obviously give the people access to a weekly live stream that they can ask questions live of what I've done during the week. I still want to make stupid videos because that's what I enjoy. But then obviously I've now got two professionals. Let me just highlight my two professionals. Yes, okay.
Narrow.
And then we've got that one as well. Yeah. And these two boys are going to help me. You can help me, Liam. Ryan, you can help me. So the first thing of sand, it's a tricky thing to decide because, as Dave's just said, oh, it's what you want to put in the tank. Now, I know what I'm going to put in that tank, but when you go into a shop and somebody said, what choice of sand? So what choice did you go for, Ross?
I went in with the intention of getting live sand.
Yeah.
Just because of the bacteria content and how it'll kind of help with the cycle. But with a 4-foot tank to put a decent sand bed of live sand will cost you a fortune.
Yeah.
So it's got a smaller bag of live sand just to kind of start the seeding, and I've got a bigger bag of crushed coral.
Yes. So we've got a sexy beast in the bottom corner now. Hello, sexy
Who's
beast.
this
Where
guy?
have you been?
Stop that up, man.
Ah, right, fair enough. You weren't texting and driving, obviously.
No,
No.
drinking and driving instead.
Yeah, drinking and driving. Like it. Right. So the interaction with a 4-foot system of live sand or a 2-foot system with live sand, there's a big price difference of live sand to dry sand. Yeah, we're all of the opinion that live sand is very expensive, and the silkiness of a live sand looks really nice, but then obviously when I've already got a bag in here of dry sand, I'd like to do dry sand.
Live sand.
Go for dry sand then.
No, it's not. It's not. And I already know that if I was to give you a choice of the big particle or the small particle, boys, which would you choose?
Small
Seems as I've got
particle.
Small.
I've got small in here.
What you got in there? Sorry.
Exactly. I'm small in here. Give up. Big. Ooh, we're big. We're not going big. We're going small because I've already got a bag of small sand in here that I used a little bit of in here, and I'm going to use the rest in there. So anyway, that decision's made.
Mixed. Mix it.
No, because if you've got, do you know how sand works? If you've
I
got
did that in the first tank. I put like a more coarse kind of gravel in the bottom and finer sand in the top, and all that happened is all the finer sand dropped through the gaps and ended up in the bottom anyway.
See, I mixed mine, and basically the wave makers pushed it where it wanted to be, but the heavier stuff stayed. So it balanced it out. It didn't end up with glass. You ended up with still sand there, but it was a heavy particles what was in where the main flow was going.
So does it make a difference when you look at your tank as a personal thing, when you're looking at it, that you have got different sizes, or does it blend in because it's all sand as such?
I like it. I like the looks of it.
Yeah, it depends what you want your tank to look like, doesn't it?
Yeah, if you want, I don't know, crushed coral at the bottom of your tank, and then you want crushed coral at the bottom of your tank. You know, it's what you want.
No,
and if you wanted black sand, you put black sand. It's whatever you want. On your case, with whatever YouTube wants.
It is whatever YouTube wants, but Ryan has said the big particles, and I'm only going to do what I want. Big, and you have no interaction. If I thought that you were interacting with my platform, and you got to choose a tank that you never interacted with, this is why we're now doing that. I've got to fast forward to get to the point where I can put corals in. So don't you be blaming me. I gave you the opportunity to pick a tank. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. So yes, I am going to choose the sand because I've already got it. But if you want me to put big particle sand in, I'll put big particle sand in just for you. No, that's it. No. We've had a viewer that's come onto a live stream that I've had to force him into doing. That's now joined in, and he's now calling me out that, oh, I'm not doing what you do on your live stream. So go fuck yourself. I'll put big sand in just for you. That's it. Jesus wet. You just can't keep on top of it. Right. Big sand in a 3-foot tank that was decided by my one viewer. Now we're getting down to lighting. Now, the lighting side of it, I actually know the one that I want to put on the tank, but both of you, not you boys. I've now got conflicting views on the chat. No, he said first. That's it. I'm picking his decision. You need to jog on and get involved in this next bit. Lighting. I've either got a Hydra 26. I've either got a Hydra 32. I've got a Radeon Gen 4, or I've got an old Illumination Aqua that you have to turn it on and turn it off. So
how big's that?
It's a 3-foot light that'll do a 3-foot spread.
32.
So why would you pick a 32?
It's a newer model, isn't
The Hydra 32 is newer than the 26, yeah?
Yeah, newer model. I'm assuming the 32 stands for the amount of pucks or whatever it's got.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So if you, in the future, say you wanted to go SPS or out like that, you've got more power, more of a kick to go down that route if you wanted to. If not, you just put it at 40%, and the life of the light will last longer because you're not running it at 100%.
So would the money aspect of it, because obviously I've got all 3 lights, would the money aspect of it put you off that generally you can pick Hydra 26s up now for anywhere from about 150 quid-ish, something like that. A Hydra 32, you're going to be looking mid 200s, early 200s, something like that. A Luminaire you could pick up for about 50 quid nowadays, or the Radeon you're about 175 ish, something like that. Would money make a difference?
If I had the choice of any, I'd go for Coral Care.
Right, fair enough.
Because all them are very blue lights.
Yeah, so Dave was just going to chip in, and he's going to say you need a brand new Hydra 32. Is that what you were going to say, Dave?
Not brand new. You just need to know how old they are. They don't last forever, do they?
No,
you
they
don't
don't.
want one that's 15-year-old. It's not going to give out half as much light as what a 3-year-old light's going to do.
Yeah.
So
because the LEDs
money does play a big part in it. But if you're buying a 15-year-old light, 10-year-old light for 100 quid, I'd rather spend 170 quid for something that's going to last probably 8 years if you want to
right.
put it.
Fair enough. So Ross, let's get back to sensible chat. If you had the option of a 3-foot fish tank secondhand and then there was an option of a £50 light to put on top of it, a £150 light, a £225 light, or if you went like brand new XR15s nowadays, a £600 light, which obviously I would go second-hand Hydra Radeon XR15 Gen 4. What would you, and I'm going to do this properly, so go fuck yourselves. Which would you advise, sir, to put above this fish tank?
I mean, for me, knowing what I know now, you kind of need to, you sort of need to know what your end game is with the tank. Whether you want fish only, if you want corals at all, or you know how far into the corals you want to get as to really what light you want. So if you go kind of like you say, like the 32s, at least it gives you future options if you want to go a bit deeper in with the corals.
Ah, right, yeah. That's actually a really good way of understanding that you've got to figure out the end game.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, it changes as you go along, doesn't it? But if you get a relatively decent light for, you know, kind of a mid-range price sort of thing, at least you've given yourself options to change your mind a little bit, haven't you?
So, you know, when you were now talking about actually setting up a proper 3-foot system, and I'm sat at this side, I'm not sat at that side. You can still hear me from that side because we're on a live stream. I'm more interested in the content side of it, of how to produce content. If all the rest of the YouTubers are doing a little stupid nano tank and then put in a £600 light above an absolute crappy nano tank, do you think they thought of I'm going to show off on YouTube, or did they think of the person that's viewing? Because the person that's viewing potentially is, I need to watch content on the internet of how the hobby works. And it was a big sell for me to convince you to go from your 4-foot tropical system, because you were doing it all wrong, into a marine tank with a proper marine tank light. And you're now in the hobby of, you now see the benefit. But if I'm trying to produce content on this side of the door, surely I need to go through all of the problems on this side of the door that the people potentially will watch. Because if you put a £50 light above this tank, you're only going to get a certain stage into the hobby before you can change your light. Because we all know, because we're in the hobby, that the best light is a Hydra 32 at the moment, potentially, or a Radeon Gen 6. But that's not going to help me providing content to the internet of people that potentially are going to watch that I've not even got water in it. And I'm thinking about content for the internet at the bottom end of the scale, rather than people that will do content on the internet with a £1,000 light on the top of it and show off as though, this is this and this and this and this and this. So I'm back in the room. So definitely Hydra 32, boys. Yeah, definitely Hydra 32.
Yeah.
No, I'm starting to think Radeon.
See, this is the bit of the internet side of it and the hobby side of it, and knowing how lights interact with systems and stuff like that. So me personally, I've got all 3 lights on different systems, and if I was to pick one now, 9 or 10 years into the hobby, as if I was to go out and buy one with my own hard cash, if money no object, I would go out and buy a Radeon all day long.
Stratton.
But the second option would be a Hydra 32, because there's really a banging light. and then obviously the Evergrows that Ross has just put on his tank. Such an amazing light, but you have to justify right at day one when you've literally just.
Where's his mic gone?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Is that me or is that him? So what he's going on about is justifying
definitely
spending £1,000 light to getting a decent second-hand one.
Can you hear me again?
You can now, yeah.
Yeah, it's because I've been waffling on.
Hi again. Got some
He's gone
technical
again.
difficulties there, mate.
So what? So if money was no object, then what would be the light of choice? What would you choose?
I'd be tempted to try one of them Orfex.
Yeah. What about you, Ross?
I'm happy with my light. To be fair, I mean it's new anyway, so.
Yeah.
I mean, when the first tank I got, I bought a Max Spec Razor, an old one, the one that with a little dial on the side that you set it on. And I thought that was fucking brilliant. Until I bought this light, and it was like your phone light or something. The difference, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah. See, I don't know. I like the looks of these Strattons and everything what will come out, but I'm a total different person to a lot of people. I don't like the blue. I don't like the blue light, so I would probably go for Philips Coral Care because they're more of a whiter light, or the Strattons, but that's just because there's a load of hype behind them. So I don't know. But what would you personally though? Would you choose the Hydra 32s out of what he's trying to put on his tank at the moment, or would you go to the other ones? I forget what they are now. Radions.
I mean, I choose the Hydras because I've seen them. I don't really know what the Radions. I've not experienced them, so I don't really know about them.
See, that's interesting because everyone's on the what's the hat? It's good. Everyone seems to go on about the Radions. The Radions, it seems to be everyone wants them, and they do grow coral. To be fair, to be honest, it doesn't really matter what light you put on. It's like you say, at the end of the day, it's what your end game is. What do you want?
They all grow coral to a certain extent, don't they?
Yeah, that's the.
It's not just the light. I know it plays a big factor, but there's everything else.
What's he doing now? Strip teasing.
Sort of the wake up call, if you like, with mine is I put a par meter on the Razor, and even with the wave makers off and the meter right at the surface of the water, it was getting about 120 or something like that.
Where was that? At the top or the bottom?
At the very top.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a second-hand. It was a second-hand light. I don't know how old it was and how it had been treated. You know what I mean? But I bought what I could afford at the time, and what I sort of knew about as well, because I'd seen the Razors in fish shops sort of 10 years ago when I was sort of last into the hobby.
Yeah. Well, this is it. What was that running at 100%?
It was about. It wasn't far off. It's about 85-90% at peak.
Oh, bloody hell. So yeah, that wasn't really going to see you far, was it? It would have done you.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. See, I did a power test on mine, the refractory ones and everything like that. And I think I was hitting 120 on the sandbed, but to be honest with you, the rest of it I can't remember.
No, I've not done one on this light actually. I might. There's someone in Gainsborough who I know who's got a power meter. I might borrow it and have a look.
Oh, it'll be interesting to see.
Because I'm not running at 100% as well. I think it's 80% the maximum it's at the minute.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Get it, find out, have a look, see what it is, and then you can do adjust from there. Because you never know. You might be overpower. You might be too much on the sandbed and for your LPS. You never know. Just one of them things, isn't it? You got to look at it, see, and adjust if you want.
That's right. Yeah.
You can hear me now, boys. Surely.
Right. Shall we just ignore him and carry on?
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Fuck off. Right. Fucking hell, boys.
Where's the camera?
Well filmed, boys. Well filmed. So you know the new microphone that I got?
The gift.
The gift. It's not got a very big battery. So we need to think of how to do that. But they obviously we were picking before. So to do content this side of the door, it's quieter. Now, obviously, you can hear me, and the background, I can't even hear the background now. But anyway, thank you very much, boys, for filling in. Let's get back to me, because it's all about me.
Where's the camera so we can see you then?
Oh, can you not see me?
We've got half a head. No, unfortunately, yeah, that's fair.
What about that? That good enough?
There we are. I can hear you better now as well.
Oh, yeah. That's because I'm on a shitty phone.
That's fair.
Right. So, making the shit up, boys. It's becoming apparent that I need to get things in order. Brand new marine fish tank. A very easy £50 light on the top of it. And then going through the process of going from an early fish tank with a low light to then potentially putting a better light on it in the future when corals start to not grow or start to die off or things like that. But what type of corals you would put in and positions and things like that, in my eyes, would be better content. Right.
Well, it helps everyone. Yeah. It helps everyone, doesn't it?
Hopefully. And that's the whole point of what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to be different to everybody on the internet. I'm trying to get as many different ways of doing things, because I've seen the three of yours fish tanks. Now, obviously, there's one extreme or the other extreme. And at some stage, you two, I can't even see you anymore, you two will convince Ross that a bog roll maker, or whatever the fuck it is that you talk about, he needs one. Right?
Future.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're now teaching me how to do my new fish tank, and the people that are watching us on the internet potentially having problems, that they can look at different ways of doing things and different positions, I could quite happily fill this full of copper, full of when there's corals in it. Granted, I don't want to do that, but the fish tank means nothing. I'm in the YouTube hobby. The guy on this side of the door with no volume, he's in the fish tank hobby. But I'm on the YouTube hobby on this side of the door. Right. It's been hard work, this. I need to sort out microphone, obviously. I needed to sort out the internet. I needed to sort out all of the different bits and bobs that go with it. All I've literally got in here that's set up is a fish tank with no water in it. So what's the first thing that I need to do? What brand of salt do I need to go for? What do I need to do, boys? I mean, come on. It can't be that hard.
Well, is it all clean for starters?
What?
Have you cleaned it?
No, I haven't.
Well, but you need to crack on and start cleaning it then, don't you?
So what am I cleaning it with?
It's typical bloody water if you need be. There's no No chemicals, no bleach, not like that. Just give it a good scrub. Maybe get some vinegar as well if you wanted to help yourself out.
Right?
And then once you've done that, dried it out and everything like that, what do you think you need to do next?
I don't know. You're teaching me.
Well, the teacher needs to think.
Me? What would I do next?
Yeah, what would
Needs
you
to
do
watch
next? Would you put
YouTube.
fish in it?
So if I was setting up this brand new second-hand tank that I've literally got from some idiot on that side of the door, I'd look at all of the different bits and aspects of it. There's obviously little bits of residue there's bits of sand, all sorts. So all I would literally do, first step, fill it full of water. It really does not matter what water you put in it to start with, because at the end of the day, if you've never put water in this fish tank, how do you know whether it leaks or not? I haven't got a clue. I've literally just bought it from the guy that's got no volume.
Is it Red Sea?
He sold me it and went, "Oh yeah, that's brilliant."
Put water in if it's Red Sea.
Exactly. So if it's you're literally walking into a dry fish tank, you've got no aspect of whether it was set up before or whether somebody's bust it and then got a mug on the internet to buy it. The bloke on the other side of the door's got a mug to buy this one. So all I'm going to do is fill it full of water just to make sure it holds water to start with, and then give it a little bit of a scrub out, as Daryl said. Empty it of water. Potentially do a little bit of, if there's hard algae and stuff like that, give it a scrape off, maybe a little bit of vinegar. And then once you're happy that it's clean to your standard, then put some salt in it, because salt's expensive. And if you were to fill, how much would it cost you to fill, what we're saying water volume on this, boys? 200, 250-ish, something like that?
200 litres.
Yeah, something like that. So 200 litres of salt water, you're going to be 48, best part of 50 quid. You put 50 quid in there and it leaks.
And to be fair, and the rest it spends if you go for the shop. If you went to the shop and bought it from there. I don't know how much it was a litre for 25 litres there, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then you guarantee it, you go to the shop, you'll buy an exact amount that you want from the shop, and you will be 25 litres short.
Or 25 over, because you don't. I don't know the water volume of this. So you're relying on the people that are in the shop to tell you how much water you need. And again, it depends which shop you go to, that if they're willing to take water back, because we do it in the shop, that granted you don't know exactly the water volume of every single tank, so you sometimes have a bit of a guesstimate. But if people don't use the water and bring it back to the shop, we'll give them the money back. I don't know whether others do that.
No idea.
Exactly, but nine times out of 10, there's always a little bit of under of what you need. So sell. Obviously, we've decided. Well, we've decided. Ryan's decided. Big sand on the bottom. Now, what's your thoughts on rock? Not the sticky stuff that you get from the coast. Live rock, dry rock, purple rock.
Yeah, it's all down to money again, innit? If you've got the budget.
For just setting up your tank, you just need just a little bit of live rock. I would do just to stick in there and help it get cycled.
Ooh, right. Now the problem is I can't actually see you boys anymore to get your way of looking at it. So what I'm going to do, because this is working, but it's not working because I can't see you. So I'm going to move. Wait.
Keep moving the body.
Now I hope that you can now see me again. Ooh. Let's get rid of. Wait a minute. Let's kick him off. There you go. So I'm back talking to myself. You'll see this because this is the camera position that I have when I'm doing my videos and stuff like that. Already thought through, boys. Then what can I see in the background now? Oh my god, bald head, by the way. Right. So at some stage that battery's going to fall to bits, but you can hear me. We're 45 minutes in. We've had loads of questions that I didn't see. But let's skip over all of that. Right. Setting up a marine fish tank can be daunting. I'm now talking to this camera, but I'm meant to be talking to that camera, which is a bit thing, but I'm watching you here anyway. It's a daunting process. And when you're setting up a marine fish tank, you've only really got that person in the shop that in theory knows what they're doing. But are they trying to sell you something, or are they trying to advise you the best way? It's a bit of a minefield. Yeah. Now I work in, you three know me from a marine fish shop, and I work there, but I work on behalf of Half Cut Corals because I'm self-employed when I'm in that business, and I will tell you the best way to get your fish tank up to the point where you could then buy my corals online at halfcutcorals.co.uk, by the way, if nobody knows. Again, I'm talking to this camera, I meant to be talking to that camera. But since I've got a YouTube channel that nobody's watching, and I've got a internet selling site that nobody's interacting with, we're doing it all as a wanna. Do it all as a wanna. Right.
This has been
the hardest live stream that I've ever done. I'm even picking up empty beers. It's fucking ridiculous. Right. So I'm going to have a sit and I'm going to have a relax for just 2 seconds because I talk a lot on the live streams. Would anybody like to talk? Go on, anybody.
So what would you choose then? Lee?
I would personally, yeah, we need to work on this. This is very, very, very good. So personally, I would buy Budget Restraint, the dry stuff that's in the shop, because you can get dry rock on the internet. You can get dry rock from your local shop, and you can get dry rock basically wherever. And you know that all of the little critters that are in that live rock, that are in the dry rock, don't exist because it's dead, basically. And then what I would do personally is I would go onto halfcutcorals.co.uk and I would buy one of Lee's activated balls. Exactly. Have you ever heard of Lee's activated balls before?
Never before.
I've only seen on the back of toilet doors, mate.
Really? Yeah. Your content that I put on the internet last night was age restricted. That's the first time it's ever happened. Right. So if I was to buy a piece of live rock from a shop, you look at the rock that's in the shop and you assess whether it's a good piece of rock. You don't know the ins and outs of what's happened, but you know the biospheres that you have from all different companies.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same as a live piece of rock, but because it's such a small area, you would be able to see whether there's any critters on it, whether there's any things that you don't want. You could literally give it a little bit because it's literally a little ball, and then you could put that in to seed your tank. So I'm now of the impression that Lee's salty balls potentially are a thing to sell on the internet. And I'm going to put my salty balls on the internet and see what happens.
I think you need to sign up for OnlyFans.
It's a
Exactly. They're not
different
buying
platform,
coral.
that, Lee.
Say that what?
It's a different platform you're putting salty balls on, mate, not YouTube.
Definitely, definitely.
What's the opinion on buying kind of live rock off of like tank breakdowns and things from other people's tanks?
No.
Why were they closing the tank down to start with?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly that.
Leaching all sorts. Be
If
full
I
of
was-
nitrates.
Exactly. If I was to close all of the things that I've got down in here, personally, I would only sell dry rock. I would let it dry out and then I would sell the dry rock because nothing's going to live on it. If you buy in live rock from an established system, why were they closing that tank down? Would be the first question that I would ask. And if you were to ever put a bit of rock in there, the difference between dry rock at $8.99 or $10.99 a kilo, or live rock at potentially $11.99 a kilo from a shop, that shop you can then go in week 1, you can then go in week 2, you can go in week 3, and after a couple of weeks you would see whether it was worth buying, because you can't disguise it in a shop, can you, really?
No.
Whereas how many times do you get access to that person's living room that they're closing a marine fish tank down? You want to get one. You want to get one. And then when you have problems in the future, that's an extra thing that potentially, where did that problem come from? You never really know, to be fair. You never really know. So, again, because I'm now got live rock in my systems and I'm moving bits of rock from different systems, I need to speed up the process of getting this marine fish tank up to the point where it can have corals in. So I am going to use live rock, a little bit from this system, a little bit from that system up there, a little bit from that system, and put it in. But I'm also going to make sure that I put one of these salty balls in there, just because I now can talk about these salty balls on the internet and I can potentially sell them.
Okay.
Yeah?
But here's the question for you.
Go on.
When you buy live rock offline, you know, wherever, it costs a fortune to get it shipped over and everything like that.
Yeah.
You don't know what's on that one either. You don't know what critters are in it. You don't know what pests are on it. You don't know anything about it. But the reason why you're buying it is for the bacteria.
It is.
So all you're buying it for is just for the bacteria. So even if you sit on it for a couple of weeks, see what critters come out of it, see what pests come out of it, and then deal with them. The only reason you're buying it is for the bacteria.
And there is a company down south that have brought in rock from the actual reef, and if it came from an actual reef and it came from a store that you could rely on, because the store that I'm talking about is actually one of the best in the country, so you potentially you're buying from a legitimate source, you're buying from a reputable dealer, and you're not buying from somebody's living room. Then obviously buying live rock, you're moving the bacteria. Yes, you're moving the bacteria, and starting up a system and things like that. There are a couple of different ways of doing it, which him on that side will go through. Hopefully he will. But the live rock side of it, the sand side of it, the lighting side of it, they're all choices that, one, you rely on a budget, 2, you rely on the person that potentially is in the shop to make that informed decision. And at the end of the day, the majority of the people that work in fish shops have got a bit of an understanding of what they do. Or, don't be giving me them faces, Daryl. Or you can watch us live on a Friday and me during the week having a beer being an idiot. If you want to set your fish tank up with our expertise, or yeah, is it expertise?
Yeah.
Let's say expertise, because we're all professionals. Then
Professional
come and join
legend.
us on a Friday. Come and join me during the week, and I'm going to try and give these three obstacles to overcome. Because if you only walk into a shop and see me, come and visit the shop, by the way, and you only see me, you've got one way of dealing with it, and that's how I would deal with it. Now, Dave and Ross potentially have only had my interaction with. They've obviously skirted around other shops, but we'll not go into that. But you've really had my way of doing things, or a different shop. You're now my experts, and I want to draw on what you've done in the past, what you're thinking about doing, to help me set up this fish tank. And I actually think that's not bad content for the internet, that if I'm an idiot sat on this side of the door, but I act like I'm an idiot on that side of the door, then it's exactly the same as the idiot that walks into the shop that goes, "Oh, I want a marine fish tank." Is it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to go down that route, yeah.
Yeah. I think that would make brilliant content. And since as I can cancel you at any stage, where you gone? Where you gone? Oh no, I'm not gonna cancel everybody. Not gonna cancel everybody. You can cancel me. You can cancel me. Right. That's been hard work, boys. We've managed to go. Yeah, that we've managed to do an hour. Right. So this hour, we've had a couple of people in the background watching. I think I've got my point across, that I want to be different on the internet. I am different. You three are now my advisors, and the people that come into the live chat on a Friday night, they could be my advisors as well, because this is the last time you're going to see me on this side on a live chat. I'm going to always do live streams on that side.
Right.
And we'll see what happens.
When's the tank talk?
Of this one, of the new one.
Yeah.
I'll do a tank tour of this one. I tell you what. Wait a minute. Let me just. So this is right. The way that so a lot of people have called me out of the way that I do the internet, and it's basically a process of I will move the camera and I'll put that camera there. You can see all of the gubbins up there now, right? But then this camera, let me just put this camera into position, and let me.
Wait.
Sounds windy there.
Let me. It is windy now. I can't see that up there, but you can see it, right? So what I'm going to do live on the internet, you can now see and hear me live on the internet. Let me just go and get a proper beer. 2 seconds. Let me just angle that down a little bit. Let me just. And you're getting a bit behind the scenes tour. Evening. How we doing? I mean, really? Come on. These fuckers. Oh, really? These actual fuckers are sat watching me, and you're going to watch me. Come on watch me. I sat on that side of the door. I sat on this side of the door. For fuck's sake. Come on. What's the worst that could happen? Right, boys. So we're now back in the room. Let me just get that. So I've done that in a wanna, and that will be on the internet. do I come across differently live, or do I come across differently on on this?
What, on your shop?
Well, in my shorts, exactly. You've seen it. So the biggest thing that I get pulled up on in the shop all the time is that people only see me when I'm drunk. Yeah. Now I've literally had tonight. I've had two beers and messing about and different things like that. But the way that I come across on here is a different way of coming across.
Yeah, that's because your name.
Because I can stage everything. And the whole point of half cut corals was that if I'm going to do a marine fish tank when I'm half cut, then it shouldn't be too much of a hard process. Because if I can do a fish tank when I'm pissed, why can't you do a fish tank? And the only reason that you can't do a fish tank sat in your living room is because people make it hard on the internet. People put different problems in the way to make it as though it's such a hard process. And it's not a hard process. The years of me doing things, you lot have been through all of the hard parts of a marine tank. Choosing a fish tank, choosing the substrate, choosing all of the different bits and bobs. And it's not that hard. It's not hard.
No.
You
As long as you've got the.
you lot make it hard. You lot make it hard. That's the easiest way to put a marine tank into perspective. You three, you make it hard. Now, the reason that you make it hard is exactly the same as I made it hard doing a marine tank. My first marine tank is literally sat down there, and I made it hard because I wanted things faster than Mother Nature was willing to provide. You always want the next fish. Ross has got a tank full of fish, and he's 6 months into the hobby. Dave has got a 2-foot cube and equipment for a 6-foot tank. And Daryl is away a lot and has too much time listening to the internet.
Oh, that's the only way you get views.
It is, true fact. True fact. So now we're getting to the point of the way that I wanted to interact with you three, because the interaction that you have of how you did things and how you're going to do things, if I then restart and put everything back to ground zero, you lot are now teaching me how to do it, but I want your interpretation of what you did to then say, oh no, I wouldn't do that. Powder blue tang in here. Powder blue tang, no ick. Not a little bit of white spot. Not a single bit of white spot. And one of the fish that I want in the not 2 foot, Dave, sorry, in the 3 foot, I want the powder blue tang. I want a pair of mandarins. I want a couple of maybe tricky, a copper band, obviously. I want a copper band. But there's different ways of doing things, and the internet that nobody watches because nobody's watches. These two that were in the chat have buggered off because they're not there anymore. The internet side of it and the marine tank side of it are two different things, even though that's 4. Because I'm now watching myself and I've pointed to that. Right. So I now got to put water in it.
Yeah.
Do a stupid bit of content during the week. And then come back on Friday and then talk to you lot again.
How are you making your water?
I'm going to get it from my local fish shop because it's the cheapest way of doing it. We don't all have to go into mixing stations. That's content in a year's time.
No, it was just a question. Just a question.
So I'm going to
If you're
get
getting tap, because well, as far as I was aware, you was getting tap water, chucking that in, and then going into your cupboard where your fish and chip salt is, and chucking that in with it.
See, I knew he was around for a reason.
So you're going somewhere to get your salt water.
So, now, come on. You're obviously so between Daryl and Ross, there's a big gap of the information of their exact fish tank. But now you're both in the same thing, and obviously Dave is now going into the fragging side of it. I'm open. We're now an hour and 6 minutes in. We've got 3 people watching. I don't even know who's watching. Nobody's messaging in the chat. What I'm off for a beer. What would you? And I'm going to listen to your answer on recap because I'm more bothered about watching you on recap than I am listening to you now, basically. Because I'll pick all your faults on recap. Who would put hand up in the air? Who would like to go through me setting up? I tell you what, you can all do it. We'll go Daryl, we'll go Ross, and then we'll go Dave. How would you set up first interactions? Give me some content. Give me some content, boys. Come on.
So what hang on before you disappear for this cold beer. 1, you got a drinking problem. 2,
Yes.
2, what do you mean by how you want to say it up? What you want to tell you what I would do if I was in your situation?
Yeah, go on.
Well, personally, like you say, water test it because it is a second-hand tank, and one of them you showed us had loads of cracks all over it. So yeah, definitely water test it. 2, clean it. Make sure you clean it really nice to what, like you say, your spec of clean. So hopefully no algae or residue left in there from the previous owner. 3, I would probably go get my rock, depending what you want to do. If you're going live rock, then obviously you can't go get your Rockscape. If you're not doing live rock, go get your rock and spend a couple of weeks doing your Rockscape, making it how you want it. There's no good having coral all over it and then moving it all about because you mess it all up. And then I'd probably look at filling it up with water. Fill it with water and then I'd let it cycle. And I'd probably fill my sump up with live rock.
Right.
And then, to be honest, yeah, the way things are going at the moment, everyone goes on about these cycling and everything. Just because I watch a lot of YouTube and internet, I'd be quite tempted to put corals in first, straight away.
Ooh.
No fish, put corals in straight away. Because there's a lot of things going around at the moment that coral actually like ammonia.
Right.
So that's a bit different for you, isn't it?
Should we try that?
I can't see why not. There's a lot of people that are actually dosing ammonia. It's a thing that's starting to pick up in America. And I'm not on about just normal Joe blogs like me and you. I'm on about professionals.
Okay.
So I'm not on about you going dosing ammonia. I would just go in and put corals in to help with the cycle because the corals are gonna take the ammonia out of the water and keep an eye on the tests, and then go from there. Keep an eye on your tests and just keep on see if it works.
What? I'm off for a beer. You ask questions. What do we think, boys?
I don't know enough to be putting coral straight in with ammonia, but
it's different, isn't it?
What you want to do? Try it.
It's different.
Mm.
Who's the reefer that died in America? Get his name now. He did it straight in. Set up his corals straight away. 2 clownfish. No problems whatsoever. But the fact is, it's not the corals what suffer with pneumonia and everything like that, it's the fish. Your fish what suffer
Fish
with
are
pneumonia
breathing,
because it
yeah.
gets in the gills. It's not your corals. So there's something different for you.
Right.
Mm.
So
They're obviously just doing no fish if they're dosing ammonia, surely.
No?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. We've literally
Yeah,
just got.
they've still got fish. They've still got, but that's that bit of dosing ammonia. That's expert level. That's way up here. That's nowhere where you are at all. But the fact that you could just, instead of having a rockscape, you could put a few soft corals in there.
Okay, I'm willing to give
Absolutely.
that a try. Has anybody
No,
ever
I'm
seen?
not saying SPS though. I'm not saying like high-end
obviously
SPS.
not,
Chuck them in.
obviously
I'm
not.
on about, a few soft corals, ones that don't need loads of light.
Bit of green star pollock.
Yeah.
Kenya tree.
Yeah.
And a zoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see what goes on with that.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
I ain't got. At the end of the day, boys, I've told you, I'm in the content game now. I'm not in the fish tank game. That this is an approach that I've never seen covered with an idiot with a beer and 3 professionals.
Make that too.
All right. I think we're all idiots, by the way, but different levels of idiocy. I've never seen that on a YouTube platform.
I'll send you it through. It's interesting.
Okay, fair enough. Ross, Dave, have you ever seen that?
I don't watch.
No.
I don't watch any of the YouTube stuff other than this. So no.
Yeah, it's not traitor like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
How are you starting the
enough.
cycle, Lee?
Pardon?
How are we starting the cycle on this tank?
How I would start the cycle, I ain't got a clue because we're doing Daryl's method. How would you start the cycle, Daryl? Just by filling it full of water and
Fill it full of water.
in.
Put a few corals in. Don't put any fish in. Let it cycle while your corals are in there. Test like you would normally do in cycle, but fact is you ain't got plain rock. You've got corals to look at. And then once your cycle's finished, and then near the end of your cycle, so your ammonia is not too high. So your ammonia is at a reasonable level, not dangerous to the fish, but just a hint ammonia. And then probably I'd put two clownfish in there, or whatever fish you want to go for, and I'd go from there. Because obviously when that cycle's finished, you need something in there also feeding the corals. You need waste, and you're not going to get waste out of thin air. You need waste from fish. Okay. That's what fish are doing, aren't they? They're peeing and pooing in the water.
Yep.
And look in the sea. What's keeping them alive? It's not phosphates and nitrates, is it?
No.
They're pretty much reading 0. It's a fish. And the amount of waste they're producing, and what they're producing is ammonia.
Right. So obviously I'm going to finish this live stream because we're now getting into proper content, and I like the fact that Ross is sat going, what the fuck? And Dave a little bit, he's sat there going, "What the fuck?" And I'm sat and I'm going, "Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. We'll all learn." And
It'll be interesting.
I'm now learning from you that we are now informing the internet of whether it works or not. I have not got a clue. I can't even work sound properly. So
Jake Adams.
he's dead, by the way.
That's who did it.
Yeah, and he's dead.
Yeah, I think he might.
Pneumonia.
Whoa. You know, right, I'm seeing a theme here. So he's mentioned a internet sensation that's dead. He's mentioned a lighting company that went bust.
I'm not even going to tell you what I
I
bought.
mentioned
Yes, exactly. We all know what you bought, but we'll get onto that. The biggest thing that's freaking me out at the minute is when I gesture this way, my camera that I'm now here is upside down, so I'm gesturing the wrong way. Right. Let's finish this episode. We're now an hour and 20 minutes in. There's so much content that is going to be provided. So I'm now going to finish here, use the bit of content. I'm going to go back there and I'm going to talk about what we've just discussed. Fill it full of water, stick some corals in, and see what happens. Now, believe you or me, boys, and anybody that's watching this on catch up, I will be the first one to tell him he's got it all fucking wrong. But Daryl will always be the one that is the it's Daryl's idea. It's going to justify it. It's going to justify it.
I'll stick by it.
I have not got a clue. Let's see what happens.
Makes sense.
Fill it full of water. Are we putting
Stick cold in
day one?
Yeah.
Right. And we're doing one frag of Green Star Pollock and one
Kenya. Zoa.
And a Zoa. From day one.
you're putting a power head in. What are you doing? Just loads of
No.
things here.
Don't you now be giving him that you are as his the big.
Hang on. What temperature is it?
What temperature would you like to run? I would say 24.5.
Well, we're not going to get that in that shed, are we? At the moment, you're running at 30 degrees, so
yeah, it's proper warm in here. But
to be fair, you probably don't need a heater for a week.
I've got tanks up there that have not got heaters. We can go all through that bit, but water temperature. You're now trying to get excuses for why it all dies.
No, I'm not making excuses why it all dies, because at the moment, this current climate we're in at the moment, where it's fucking hot.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a heater. You need a cooler. But yes, you do need a heater. Obviously, basics. You do need your basics.
Right. So I'm not going to stitch you up. Not like you lot would stitch me up. I'm not going to stitch you up at all. I will do things properly. And the video of what I'll do now, and then obviously I'll chat about what the idiots on the live stream told me about. Dave's interested. I can see Dave's interested because he's literally just going through a cycle at the moment, and he's probably a couple of weeks ahead of this tank. And the internet people that may watch may, in 6 months' time, get intrigued of what's happening, and they may start watching. Right. Not that there's any pressure, Daryl. Not that there's any pressure at all.
I ain't got my own YouTube channel to look after, ever.
Exactly. It's all about content. Right. Wicked. I think so. I just need to drill down on. You've given an excuse of temperature. You tell me the temperature. Are we happy with 24.5 up to 26? Are we happy with that temperature range?
I'll go for 25.
So we're happy with anywhere in between.
No, I'll try going 25, and then if it swings a few degrees, it's not too bad. But I'll go dead in the middle at 25.
Dead
I
in the
run
middle,
I run mine
25.
at 26.
Okay, so dead in the middle, 25. Water straight in the system, and 3 corals. Are we still sticking? Because we're now going through your way of dealing with my fishing. Are we happy with the light that I've chose? The easy 50 quidder? Or would you like to choose the light that goes above it?
It's not just my tank.
You're the one that's telling me.
Well, you're the one that's choosing light. Well, what's your purse?
I've got all 3
What?
of them sat here doing nothing.
Well, what would Ross think, and what would Dave think? What lights would they say? Because I've just told you my method. You asked me what I'd do, and that's what I'd try
Oh,
because of
okay.
what I've been reading.
Okay, so
Well, Ross and Dave, they're looking like idiot. What a knobhead! Why would you do that? Which I totally agree with, but it'd be interesting to see.
it would be
So
interesting.
what light would them two use?
So let me. So Ross, I think, is the one that's going to pick this. So all I would like to say is, in theory, we're trying a brand new, not a brand new method, but we're trying a different method of setting up from day one a marine fish tank. And this is all content. I'm happy of the content. I was wanting the content side of it to put a low light 50 quid light on it to show the problems of corals with a really, really basic budget light. So I'm now going to give Ross 2 different options that, listening to Daryl, Ross will pick. I would either go for a Hydra 26 or a Radeon Gen 4 because I interact with both lights. They're both a brilliant light, but they're cheap enough on the second-hand market that you put 150 quid into a light. I've got both of them. I've got all of them. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You choose. I need a wee, so it's what you get with all this beer. Pick a light.
I would still go with the Hydra.
Hydra.
Yeah.
You're choosing the Hydra. What do you reckon, Dave? What would you go for?
Which Radeon was it? The XR
4, wasn't it?
Gen 4,
15, Gen 4. So that was just before the diffuser in, wasn't it?
Go with that. Go for the Radeon.
Ah. So
We're not going conventional, are we? So go for a Radeon, stick it on a 60%.
be interesting. But no, I'd like to see this ammonia thing. I'd like to see if it works. Really would.
It makes sense if the coral's not affected, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense with the, like you say, it's the ammonia that hurts the fish, not the coral, isn't it? So if you haven't got any fish in there, then it's not a problem.
It's just getting that. It's just trying to catch it before you end up in 0 nitrates and 0 phosphates. You need them to start coming through, and obviously to get that, you need fish in there. So you don't want to be chucking your fish straight away, even though the person that shall not be mentioned did. But yeah, I didn't really agree with that because it's hurting the fish at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's chose the Hydras.
Hydra 26.
In 64, wasn't it? You said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 26. Right. So Hydra 26 above a 3-foot system, starting with Daryl, famous from YouTube's method.
Technical difficulties again, Lee.
His batteries ran out again.
You ought to buy him for Christmas, don't you?
A charger.
Yeah, right. Go and watch us live on the internet. I know you want feeding, but you've got the money. Order the pizza, and then ring me when it turns up. If you're not watching,
She's not going to get his order right, is she? Albinos.
they don't get it. They just don't get it. They just don't get it. Right? So let me just ring. So they just don't get it. We're all sat with problems. My biggest problem is they won't feed in the house. But I've decided to have pizza, and they now need to ring the pizza place. We've now got an extra viewer because I've now cancelled the phone call twice. I would presume that the extra viewer is my wife. Ring the pizza. Let me know when it turns up. I've got about 20 minutes to half an hour. We've got important stuff to decide.
Your pizza's going to be cold, mate.
So this is the very good bit about my wife, that she'll ring me. I would presume that she's rang me to say order the pizza. If the pizza's turned up, she'll be shouting here. Right.
Did you heard of that?
I'm not expert in sign language. All I got was I'm crazy, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, fucking off.
So what do you? Well, to be honest with you, what do you think? What do you think to him having his bloody tank then?
Well, that's butter.
Is that him chewing on his pizza now?
No idea where he is. He's gone outside, I think.
Useless. No, sorry, it's the other wife. Hey, your wife's calling you.
Yeah. I'm not even in the house, mate.
You tea ready?
Right, so my
It's been
tea's here.
ready since 7 o'clock.
My tea's here, and the easiest way to tell me that my tea was here, because I can't hear her, was to ring me again. 3 times you would think is enough not to know that I'm not answering a call, because I'm busy talking to the boys. Right. You've done an hour and a half. I'm going to eat my tea. Then I'm going to go this side of the door. You've got lives. We've actually got in the chat.
Dave's wife.
Yeah. Is she calling you in for your tea as well?
No, she's not at home.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Ross.
So with different,
Me and the
different
dog
wife in
tonight.
chat. Different wife in the chat. Get it. Right. I'll sit here all night, boys. I've got food. I'm all right. Shall we call it a day?
Up to you. Your
Yeah.
show.
Ross has had enough.
His wife's calling for his tea now as well.
Exactly. The thing is, Debs is in the background at the door going, "Can I come in yet? Can I come in yet? Can I come in yet? Can I come in yet?" I bet she is. Right, boys. I'm going to finish this on that side of the door. You lot can view me on that side of the door in a little while. Jesus wept. You wouldn't have thought live streaming was so hard. Right.